Hello and welcome to my talk about Enterprise Architect in the Web. Today I want to present you our new tool called EnArWeb with a special use case, namely requirements management. First, a few words about our company LieberLieber. It is an Austrian company situated in Vienna. It is partner of Sparx Systems and we are a contributing member of the OMG. LieberLieber has about 20 plus engineers, and the focus areas are model engineering, multi-touch applications, and general .NET engineering. Now a few words about Sparx Systems Enterprise Architect. It is a well-known modeling platform with more than 300,000 users worldwide. It is a comprehensive UML analysis and design tool. It provides capabilities for modeling for business, software and systems. Enterprise Architect provides also the capabilities for full traceability from requirements to deployment. And you can also generate code out of your models in over 10 languages. Now the motivation for developing our tool EnArWeb. Today there is a huge need for heterogeneous information, so different people need different information. Enterprise Architect provides the possibility to manage all information, but Enterprise Architect is a very complex tool. It includes many modeling languages and the tooling itself is also a bit complex. And when starting with Enterprise Architect, it is difficult to say where to start and where to end. So different roles need different views to get the information they really need and in a way to easily understand this information. Why not using Enterprise Architect alone? Enterprise Architect is a customizable tool, so you can customize each toolbars and toolboxes and even the menus and commands, but it's still a complex tool from my experiences. So you can compare Enterprise Architect with a Swiss Army knife, but often you only need a spoon. So therefore we developed EnArWeb. EnArWeb can be configured to show only the required information which is needed by the user in a very comprehensive and user-friendly way. EnArWeb provides web-based access to Enterprise Architect models from everywhere. No client installation is required and it provides a simple table-based user interface. And in addition, no modeling know-how is required. You can work on the same Enterprise Architect models via the web browser and with the traditional Enterprise Architect application. EnArWeb also provides customizable role-oriented views, and it provides traceability through all development phases. All in one, it provides a communication platform for different roles, suppliers and even customers. So how you can benefit from EnArWeb? It bridges the gap between users who uses AR and users who can't use AR or don't want to use Enterprise Architect. It is a portal-based approach, as mentioned before, and it includes a role-based security system. You have simple, customizable user interface, and you have direct access to your models without consistent problems. So you don't have to import or export the information you need. And finally, simple views and a dedicated workflow helps you to work on Enterprise Architect models without modeling know-how. So this figure depicts the core domain concept of EnArWeb. So you have different Enterprise Architect repositories and you can create with EnArWeb different user accounts and map these user accounts to specified repository roles. And each role can have different views, and this view provides permission to your Enterprise Architect model. Imagine the following situation. So in your company, you have a requirement engineer, a project manager, and system engineer. And the requirement engineer needs other information than the project manager and the system engineer. So EnArWeb provides a client, web-based client, to show only those information which is needed by the requirement engineers, and the same is true for the project manager. And if you want that your customer has also access to your enterprise architect models, EnArWeb provides also the possibilities to show the customer the information they need. And, for example, the system engineer still want to work with Enterprise Architect, and this is also possible with EnArWeb. In the following slides, I want to focus on the requirement engineer part. So what usually do requirement engineers? So they work with stakeholders and the end users. They elicit and understand, analyze, document the requirements, and they want perhaps control the realization of the requirements. And how can we support them with EnArWeb? So this screenshot depicts the main view of EnArWeb for the users. In our case, we have different views for the requirements and use cases. EnArWeb also provides some filters, so you can type in and the information, the model is filtered. You can create some model elements, you can lock or unlock them, and EnArWeb also provides an advanced search. In addition, you can create also pie charts to have another view of your Enterprise Architect models, or even a metrics report, which I will present later on. And here you can also switch between different granularities to see more or less information. So the first view is the grid view, as mentioned before. Here you can see all the requirements for a requirement engineer. And if you click on a requirement, you can edit the properties of this requirement. So you can change the status from proposed to approved, or give them another type, non-functional or functional requirement. And you can also create pie charts, as mentioned before. In this case, you see the approved requirements against the proposed requirements, and when you click on the orange approved requirements, you switch to your grid view and you only see these requirements which are approved. And when you create a matrix report over your Enterprise Architect models, you can see this view. So on the left side you see this, for example, the stereotypes functional, or if you have no stereotype, and on the other side you have the status of the requirement, for example, approved, proposed, or no status. And if you click here on the functional requirement which is proposed, you switch to the grid view again and you see this requirement which is proposed and a functional requirement. Last but not least, the trace view. So you can see here the traces from the requirements to use cases and even to components. On the left side you have requirement 1, which is connected to use case 4, and this use case is also connected to use case 5, use case 1, and component 4 in our case. And inside Enterprise Architect you see the following. You have our requirement 1, which is connected to use case 4, and the system engineer now may connect them to other components or can model in a traditional way with Enterprise Architect. So the benefit here is that Enterprise Architect provides the end-to-end traceability, so you can define, model, manage, trace requirements in EnArWeb or in Enterprise Architect. And you can define an organized hierarchical requirements model. And now in Enterprise Architect you can trace system requirements to model elements, and you can search and report on requirements quite easily. And in addition, you can perform impact analysis of proposed changes to requirements. And what you can also do in EnArWeb is to send specific elements to other persons per email. So you can type in an email address and you can send this link to another person who clicks on this link, and it jumps directly in your web browser to this element to view some properties of this element, for example. So now I want to conclude my presentation of EnArWeb. It is a web-based front end for Enterprise Architect. No client installation is needed, and you have seen that the user interface is very simple, and you have different views for different roles of different users with different rights. And EnArWeb provides the possibility to get the right information into an optimized view. And in the near future, we only want to implement a configurable layout and also to view the diagrams directly in the web browser. Thank you very much.